welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today we got a full trailer for House of the Dragon. We've had a little teaser before, but this is a full 2-minute 49-second trailer. And yeah, I don't exactly know how soon this show's coming, but look, I've said most of my piece on this before, you know, like I'm gonna give it a chance, but there's a hurdle there for a lot of people about like the ending of Game of Thrones. It's still deep in a lot of people's minds of like how much that kind of ruined the franchise for them. So this is gonna be like a hard sell for many out there, you know. So I don't know if this show will ever be as successful or big or talked about as Game of Thrones ever was, but hey, you never know, right? Let's go ahead and check this trailer out.
War is afoot.
Okay. And there's a throne with a lot more swords on it. I do like the way that they added all that.
Clearer than a memory. And I heard the sound of thundering hooves, splintering shields and ringing swords. And I placed my heir upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one.
Consider the matter urgent. That of your succession.
Who else would have a claim?
The firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen.
I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Okay, so it's gonna be a daughter versus uncle kind of fight. Okay.
Rhaenyra's succession will be challenged. Knives will come out.
You are the king. Your duty is to take a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir.
War is afoot.
Do you think the realm will ever accept me as their queen?
A woman would not inherit the Iron Throne, because that is the order of things.
When I'm queen, I will create a new order.
Okay, interesting. I mean, that's kind of what Daenerys said, right?
There are power men should never have trifled with.
Whoa, those are big dragons.
She can cut off any challenge to her succession.
I am to inherit the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Oh, our hearts were never one. Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne?
Where is duty? Where is sacrifice? Now they see you as you are.
Okay, wow. The effects on the dragons look really cool. Okay, August 21st. All right. Okay, and that is House of the Dragon. Now look, I guess we kind of get like an idea of like the plot, right? Like it's basically what we thought. The Targaryens are doing a lot of infighting. You know, this person wants to be the next on the throne. You know, it's kind of the same thing that Game of Thrones was all about. You know, fighting over that damn Iron Throne, right? You know, so I guess in a sense it's good that it's like essentially the same premise, people trying to be the king, you know, the next king or queen, right? And I know that this, I believe this is what the whole what was it, they talked about it in Game of Thrones, like there was like that tale of the Targaryens who were fighting, the two dragons who were fighting each other. Like I believe that that's what this is, right? I think. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to look it up, you know. There was it wasn't a novel, it wasn't like a book, it was more like a history textbook that he came out with, that was like Blood and Fire or something like that. A history of Blood and Fire. Yeah, it was basically a history textbook that goes over the Targaryens and their whole lineage, and I think a lot of this show is being taken from that. Look, it seems like it's going to be interesting, it's going to be dramatic. The one thing that I can see being an issue, and it's kind of unavoidable, is because it's a prequel, but it's also set so far back in the past that there's gonna be sort of this sense of like, does this matter at all? You know what I mean? Because we know where this all leads to. We know what happens, you know? And I know, like, hey, I'm Mr. Star Wars over here asking for prequel matters, you know? I get it. I know. What I'm trying to say is that, like, we have to be able to get invested in these characters because these are entirely different characters. These are not like young versions of Ned Stark or something. You know what I mean? Like, this is entirely different characters way back in the past. So I guess in that sense, it's a much bigger scale version of a prequel because it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, we know how this essentially ends. The Targaryens eventually get overthrown, and then what's his name? Baratheon, right? King Baratheon, right? He takes over, and then season 1 of Game of Thrones happens, you know? like we know how this all plays out, you know? So I don't know, like they're gonna have to get us invested in the drama, invested in the characters and all that. And I guess my other thing is that, like, you know, this was not a rated R trailer, which is fine, but you know, let's not pretend here like look, Game of Thrones, especially at the beginning of Game of Thrones, one of the reasons why it was so, like, it went everywhere is because, like, look, there was gore and blood and guts, and there's also a lot of nudity in that show, especially those first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. Go back and watch that show. Let's, like, concentrated in those first couple seasons. It's like nudity everywhere, you know what I mean? So, like, the show was definitely selling itself a certain way at the beginning, and I don't know if this show is going to be doing that same thing, because this show is going to, you know, they're gonna be like, no, we're selling ourselves as a spin-off to Game of Thrones, and people liked Game of Thrones at some point, right? So, you know, I don't know, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know if this one's gonna be able to attract the same amount of audience, the same amount of eyes, if they're not gonna be selling themselves in a similar way. But maybe they will. I don't know. This wasn't a rated R trailer, so for all I know, all that stuff really is in this trailer. I don't know. I mean, in the show. But yeah, you know, House of the Dragon is still, you know, it's coming, what did it say? August 21st, right? August 21st, yeah. It's still very much up in the air for me. You know, I'm not, like, if I kind of, like, read the polls out there on the internet, you know, my limited Twitter bubble, right? If I kind of read the pulse on it, some people seem interested, but it's definitely not like this tidal wave of anticipation, you know what I mean? It's not like this big hyped up thing that everyone can't wait to see come out, you know? Like, it's got a lot more competition. I think that's another thing, is that, like, when Game of Thrones was on, especially like at its peak, Game of Thrones was the biggest thing on TV, you know? Like, no, like, all these other streaming services did not exist, and no other TV show was getting a Game of Thrones budget. That was not a thing that was happening, right? But now, what do we have? We have the Rings of Power coming out, we got The Boys, we got all the Star Wars and Marvel shows, you know, like, we have all these TV shows with all these high budgets and all these different streaming services. It's like House of the Dragon has 2 major things going against it now, you know? Like, not only does it have to get over the hurdle of, you know, the ending of Game of Thrones, which is, it's still a sour point for so many people, but also it's got competition that Game of Thrones didn't have at this same caliber, you know? Go back to when Game of Thrones came out, like, that was the highest caliber television show that was in existence, right? So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that it comes out and everyone loves it and it kind of wins a lot of fans back, and it's like, okay, they learned their mistakes. There's obviously different writers on the show than there were on the other show, you know? So, like, it's possible, you know? But it's definitely, like, it's gonna have to fight for it. I think that's my major thing, is that, like, there's a lot of competition and you're competing for people's time, you know what I mean? Like, what happens when, like, Andor is gonna come out around this same time, you know? And Andor, obviously all the Star Wars fans, we're waiting for that thing, you know? And then how many, what, there's like 2 or 3 other Marvel shows coming out. You know, my point is that you got competition. Game of Thrones, you got a lot more competition than you used to have, and you didn't leave out on the best of notes. I'm gonna wait and see. But it's you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, can this be what it used to be? I don't know. You know, it seems doubtful, but I guess it's possible, right? Anyways, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this trailer, about this show, about the franchise. You know, like, do you see this becoming the thing again? Like we were, you know, we're all talking about Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and like the Star Wars shows and the Marvel shows when they come out. You know, like, is House of the Dragon gonna be the show we're all talking about? Is this what's gonna rule the conversation, or is this thing gonna get overshadowed by the next season of The Boys and the next Rings of Power and all these other shows, you know? So, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll find out. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.